Boundaries are very important in life. And the moment you start ignoring boundaries, you can violate somebody and others can violate you. And in relationships, we cannot have a situation where we are violating the other person. So, this video is for you. This message is for others. This message is for all of us in life to practice how to just be the person in any relationship. Now, there are a lot of positive things to do. Bring values, bring characteristics, bring praise, recognition, contribution, etc. But in today's discussion, let's just focus on one specific area: how not to have unhealthy boundaries, and what are those healthy boundaries that we need to have. Now, ask yourselves that question about a bad relationship that you had at that. How did it make you feel? And obviously, really bad, especially if the relationship was important. What are the things that made you feel bad? Criticism, judgments, being manipulated, or experiencing violence. And that's what we are talking about. When you have these in relationships, the relationship really violates your space. Why do we go for a relationship in the first place? For some togetherness, for some assurance, for some safety, for some comfort in life. And when that relationship doesn't offer that to you because the boundaries are not healthy, it can take away even the peace, the joy, the love, the harmony that you have in life from other avenues, from other relationships. So whether it's a work relationship, or it's just a casual social friend circle relationship, or it's a very intimate family or personal relationship, ensure that you establish boundaries. Do not violate somebody else's boundaries, and do not allow others to violate your boundary. And in that, the first boundary that we need to be careful of is us or others criticizing, judging, passing comments on another person, picking their mistakes all the time. And this boundary is where we think that the other is an infant. We don't treat the other person as a grown-up, responsible adult. Who doesn't make mistakes? We all do. Everyone makes mistakes. At work, we could make mistakes with a proposal or a meeting or a project, or in a relationship with a certain event on a certain day, with a certain mood, in a certain communication, or in the friend circle when we were to do something, go somewhere. In various situations, we can make so many mistakes in any relationship that we are in. That doesn't give you or anybody any right to be critical, to be judgmental. We have to think. The thinking cap has to be put on. If thinking is not there, we judge. Like Freud, the great mind in the psychology space, said this, that thinking is difficult, so we judge. We use our notions, we use our shortcuts in our mind, we use our beliefs, we try to see a meaning that is sitting in the head, actually may not be out there. And that's why when people make small mistakes, or they say something or do something, we say things like, oh, you are going to fail, or you are so bad at this, or I've told you so many times, yet you can't get it right. Why can't you understand something so simple, etc., etc., etc. So I'm not going to stay on that negative language. You know what I'm saying. If you've experienced this, or you have seen this in somebody else's experience around you. So the first and the foremost boundary that we need to set up is treat the other person like a responsible adult. Know that everyone knows what they want in life at a deeper level. Whether they practice it or not, it is fine. You need to let them know in soft senses what you observe as data. Beyond that, being critical, being judgmental, calling anybody wrong, failure, dumb, lazy, these are all bad words. Let's not do it. So stop all criticism and judgment. Learn to have conversations. Learn to pass on your observations contractually. If the other person has asked for a recommendation, let them know. If not, otherwise not. Like at work, you can tell them with data what happened, what you saw happening. Don't interpret it for them. Don't give it labels. The moment you give things labels, it becomes criticism. So the only solution out of criticism and judgments is to think that the other is an adult, allow your thinking and their thinking to prevail, and to use simple language. Hope you're able to stop here. But many people are not able to stop just at criticism and judgment. They have to influence the other person, they have to convince the other person. And that's where many of us cross this boundary, or others cross that boundary with us by manipulating us, or by coercing us, or by deceiving us. And that happens in multiple ways. And anything from very deep sarcasm to repeated, and this is where criticism and judgment gets to heights of gaslighting. And it can get to a place where they may gang up with others, or you gang up with others against other people. So there's a lot of force. So criticism and judgment multiplied many, 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 many times over, with other methodologies like harsher language, ruder language, calling you names, putting ideas into your head of why you are failing or how you need to be. So there's a lot of messaging that is happening along with the criticism and judgment. So the criticism and judgment is wrapped around with a lot of communication of trying to push you in a certain direction, make you feel in a certain way. Sometimes you make others feel worthless, or others make you feel worthless. And that's where the manipulation and the deception is setting in. Sometimes we do it even in positive ways, saying that, oh, that's the only option that you have. What else will you do? How else will you win? That all needs to stop. So manipulation can only stop when we take responsibility of our own lives and tell others that we are responsible for our choices and we'll bear the consequences, both ways. So don't manipulate others. Let them take responsibility of their life. Let them decide. You don't need to have power and control over them. This is going to take a little bit of ego control for you if you are the person. But if you are being subjected to manipulation, you will need to learn to handle that relationship, handle that person by putting your foot down, by clarifying what you stand for. Sometimes if you don't have alternatives, like at work, if it's an abusive relationship, if you don't have an alternative of working in another department, or reporting it to somebody, or going for another job, then you might not be able to do this. So you'll need to also generate that option. So manipulation can only stop if you show strength of character, if you have options in your hand, if you are being subjected to manipulation. And if you are the one who's manipulating, remember, you don't need to have control on other people and others' lives. So you need to back off, check your ego, and be realistic with the other people. That's the way manipulation needs to be handled. The third and the unfortunate truth in many relationships is also emotional and physical abuse. Highly likely at work, physical abuse is not happening, but emotional abuse does happen at work. Like there are people who guilt trip, saying that, oh, I got you that promotion, or because of me, you reached till state. I have stood by you all this time and you are not able to do that. Many times bosses do that. Team members do that to their bosses. Or in relationships, there is yelling, screaming, crying, and bad show of emotions at wrong places. Or friends do that, calling out all the favors that they have done. So that's sort of a space where emotional or physical abuse happens. And sometimes physical abuse happens. Now, different partners, different relationships, we know it can get around to anything from one-sided physical violence to both-sided physical violence. Unfortunate that it happens. Now, this is a place where you need to seek help. You will need to seek a little bit of mediation, because if it's crossed all limits of criticism and judgment and manipulation, and if it's come to a level of emotional and physical violence, quickly ask for help. You may not be in a situation to face that other person and get them to back off. You will need support. And if you are the person who's doing it, then you need to know that you're in a very bad space. You can, not only morally, but legally, you might be in a difficult situation. So hope it's not you who's subjecting others to physical and emotional violence. If you are, you need to back off and really check that. But if you are being subjected to it, seek help, work, and get out of that situation quickly. So those are the three big boundaries that get breached in relationships. And that's the way that you need to proceed. I'm sure with this little understanding, you'll go out and see where else you can read and understand a little bit more. Remember one thing: if you are in a relationship and if your boundaries are being violated, it's not a good feeling. It makes us feel worthless. It makes us feel very badly treated. So please don't do it. And I have seen this so many times in life, that when you are putting it out there, it will come back to you. Or if you've not prepared your capabilities, then it will come your way. Any of which way, maintain healthy boundaries. and also encourage other people around you to maintain those boundaries. Relationship boundaries are also an outcome of the culture of the family, culture of the organization, culture of the friend group or the institution that you're a part of. If you are in a power position, I will also encourage you to start working on the culture of that setup. If you're the head of the family or someone influential in the family or in the organization or at work or in the friend circle, change the culture, change the language. Language breeds the culture, and that culture then soaks into our relationships. So change the language, change the destiny of relationships, and keep healthy boundaries.